What's up everybody, Brent with Advanced Vape Supply here. Today we're going to do a quick spring installation and removal video. This should be quick and offer a little more detail than the previous video and hopefully help a lot of you out. So let's jump right in. You'll notice I have the silicone base on. I did that just so it would be a little more grippy on the table. So one thing I want to point out real quick for the O-rings. Whether you're installing the bubbler or the bottomless banger or this metal housing, it's important that you do like a slight twisting motion. So you don't want to just put it on and jam it down on, because if you do that, the O-rings can actually pinch up between the body. So you want to just do a light twisting motion like that when you're pushing in any of the parts with O-rings. Same with the metal housing. When removing it, I do a slight twisting motion. When installing it, I also do a slight twisting motion. So with that out of the way, we'll go ahead and jump right in. So the tools that I recommend and use for this are the included Torx screwdriver and a pair of Vetus tweezers. We sell these on our site. I strongly recommend picking them up. Something else you can use is you can use dental tools if you already have some dental tools to do the same thing. And these are very, very, very handy. So I strongly recommend it. Now, if you don't prepare the spring the right way and you push the ESCC in, you can end up with this happening. See if I can get that to focus in there. There you go. So if you don't install the spring correctly, the ESCC can actually bend the arm of the spring down, and then you obviously don't want that because you won't make a good connection. And not only will you not make a good connection, but you risk breaking the leg of the ESCC. So one way to know if that is happening is if you have to push way too hard to install the ESCC. The ESCC should not take a significant amount of pressure to install. So you can use the tweezers to install these. You can use the little screwdriver to install these. You can even just take your hand and make sure to line it up. So the best way to describe the way to do this would be to put the short sides of the spring clips. Okay, I'm going to use the tool on that one. So you'll notice on the spring there are 4 sides. 2 of those sides are shorter than the other 2 sides. The short sides you want pointing towards the other posts, and you want the long sides pointing towards the coil posts. Now you can kind of just jam it in like that with the tool. And if any of the legs get caught, you can kind of push them in. And once you get the spring in there, you kind of want to just wiggle the screwdriver around a little bit and push against the sides. You do not want to pinch them or put a lot of pressure on them. What you're trying to do is make sure that the spring is secure in there, but that nothing is snagged up, so that when you go to push the ESCC in, none of those spring legs are going to get hung up on anything, basically. So it's important that you do that step right there. That is something I left out of the last video. So after you push your spring clip in, we'll do that again, and I'll try to do it a little more visible. But essentially just line it up. You can use your fingernail to help you, kind of just push it and then push it down in, kind of like I did. push it all the way down. Make sure that once it's all the way down into the post like that, wiggle the tool around, make sure that all the legs are able to move around and that nothing is snagged. So we verified that everything's good, nothing's snagged. Getting out a new zirconia for this. Now we can go ahead and take the ESCC, place it into the zirconia, and then line it up with the springs. Make sure that it's sitting right, and then you push it down in, and it should just click right in, and you should have a nice secure connection like that. Now notice I did not struggle to push that in, I didn't force it in, I didn't use excessive pressure. If it takes a lot of pressure or excessive force to try to push that down in, likely one of your springs is snagged up, and what's going to happen is either you're going to break a sick leg trying to force it or jam it in, or you're going to end up with a bent spring like I showed earlier. So it's important that after you install those springs, you kind of just take the tool and just wiggle around, make sure that each leg of the spring can wiggle and move and that it's not just jammed in there improperly. It's very critical. This is a highly engineered device. I can't stress that enough. You need to make sure that everything is correct as you proceed forward. But once it's all assembled, obviously, that's how you get, I guess you could say, Lamborghini performance out of a wax pen. And so with all that said, there you go. That's how you install the ESCC. Now we could take a reading and go from there. But we'll skip that part for this video. We'll go ahead and pull the ESCC. Now notice that neither of those spring clips came out of the deck. They're both underneath what I would call flush of the deck. So you can see that they didn't pop out. This is actually an indicator of how you can tell when your springs go bad. If you pull your ESCC up and one of your springs pops out, even a little bit above the deck, a millimeter roughly, that tells you that that spring has worn out. It's no longer making a secure connection. It's got to go. And kind of like an all-wheel drive car, when you're changing a tire, you got to change all 4 tires. You can't just put one new tire on there. So the same thing kind of applies here. If you're going to change one spring, you need to change them as a pair. You do not want to change one spring and leave the other spring, because then you'll have mismatched tensions. And with mismatched tension, you'll end up with one leg grabbing harder than the other. You'll have possibly electrical resistance problems, as well as, you might go to try to pull it and it ends up rocking and you snap a leg because one leg's being gripped really hard while the other one is not being gripped as hard. So it's very important, like I said, back to the high performance aspect of this. This is a high performance device, like an all-wheel drive car. It has extra maintenance. You can't just change one tire. You have to change both springs together. And because these are new, because these are brand new springs, they did not come up when I pulled the ESCC because they're brand new. And you can also see I did not have any issue with any of those spring tabs pushing down, and it just clicks right in. A little bit of pressure to pull it out, and again you can see my spring clips are totally in the deck, a sign that they're still okay. So there you have it. I hope that this helped. I hope this made it easier and relieves a lot of the problems for you guys. When it does come time to remove it, this is why I recommend the Vetus tweezers. You can simply go underneath 2 of the tabs and pop them out just like that. It's that simple, guys. You don't need a special tool other than these Vetus tweezers. That's it. The Vetus tweezers are all you need, mixed with the included Torx screwdriver. And between those 2 tools, you'll have success with installing the clips and extracting them. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to let me know. I may or may not redo this video. This was just a quick take based on the posts that I saw, so I just wanted to hurry and get this done, get this out there, show you guys basically how to do the spring clips without having any issues.